costume. What are you up to today?
Well, I thought it would be fun to read a Halloween classic for Halloween to get into the spooky season, Dracula.
That's fun.
Yeah, I was just hoping you could help me because I'm going to a party tonight and I may have told them that I already read the book and I actually haven't had a chance to read it yet, and so I was wondering...
So you want me to tell you what the plot of Dracula is?
Please.
Okay.
Dracula starts with a man named Jonathan Harker, a London solicitor traveling to Transylvania to meet with his new client, Count Dracula. Jonathan is a simple man, hoping to finish his work so he can return to London and marry his fiancée, Mina Murray.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me what the name of this dish is? It is quite delicious, and I'd love to send the recipe back to my fiancé. That would be toast, sir. Thank you. Sir, if you are going up to the mountains, might I suggest not going after dark? There are some dark creatures that live up in the hills, sir. It is true, sir. Vampires live in the wilderness. The locals have some very interesting superstitions about vampires who live up in the hills. I'll have to ask my friend Dracula, who lives up in the hills, if he's heard anything about these superstitions before. I'm sure he'll find them most entertaining.
Despite the warnings, Jonathan continues on to Dracula's castle.
Oh dear. Oh my.
You.
Oh, hello, old boy.
I'm here to take you to the castle.
Fantastic. Thank you for the ride, but this fine gent is going to give me a ride the rest of the way to the Count's castle. Mr. Harker, it is wonderful to meet you. It is a pleasure to meet you, Count Dracula. And as you know, I am trying to buy some property in London. But I would like a London solicitor to help me with the process. Of course, I understand completely, sir. My staff are all gone now, but I had them prepare you a meal before they left. I won't be able to meet with you. I'll be busy with business until sunset tomorrow. Be sure to not wander too far. And don't fall asleep outside your room. Strange things have happened to people who sleep in beds that are not theirs. Good night, Mr. Harker. What a lovely man.
The next couple of days, Jonathan obeys Dracula and life goes on as normal. Dracula is very interested in learning about England and pushing Jonathan to finish the legal paperwork. Jonathan also begins to notice some strange things around the castle, such as never seeing Dracula eat and the Count's strange hours and hatred of mirrors.
Must just be very sensitive about his looks.
One night, Jonathan makes a mistake. As he's writing in his journal outside his room, he falls asleep.
Oh, this one's cute.
Hello, little London man.
What a delectable little plaything he's brought us.
Wouldn't you like to stay and play with us, London man?
And I'm sure you're just as delicious as you look.
I'm sure we can find out.
Be gone, you foul women.
Oh, you're so protective.
You know that he is mine. I need him for my purposes. Once I am done, you can have him.
But we're hungry now.
Well, this should tide you over. Until then, I will finish with him, and once he's prepared, then you can have him.
After that night, everything changes for Jonathan. He spots Dracula climbing on the wall in lizard fashion. The doors are chained shut and Dracula makes a strange request of him.
You should write letters to your family to let them know you're on your way home.
But I'm not on my way home. When they receive them, you will be.
Best not to let them worry.
Okay.
Jonathan tries to sneak in a call for help in code to Mina, but Dracula isn't about to let that happen. Soon, Dracula leaves for London, and just as promised, Jonathan is left with the vampire women.
When the cat's away,
The kittens will play with their food.
I've got to get out of here.
Taking a page out of Dracula's book, Jonathan scales down the wall and escapes from the castle. He arrives at a convent, desperate and raving about monsters in the shadows.
You have to help me. The creatures are coming for me.
Meanwhile, back in England, Mina catches up with her friend, Lucy Westenra. Dear Lucy, it has been hard recently without Jonathan. I wonder daily when he'll be home. How are you? Dear Mina, my life has been pretty hard too. I've had 3 marriage proposals, and it's so hard to turn 2 of them down. The first was from John Seward. He's a doctor at the local asylum and very smart. The second was Quincy Morris, an American gentleman who is very kind and gentle. The last is my now dear fiancé, Arthur Holmwood. I do love Arthur dearly, and I hope to spend the rest of my life in his arms. The others took the rejection well, and we have all decided to stay friends. It's too bad about Jonathan. I hope to see you soon, my friend. Mina and Lucy are reunited, but not under happy circumstances. Lucy begins having terrible sleepwalking spells.
Lucy, wake up. It's Mina.
No, Mom, I don't want to go to school.
Lucy, you're not at school. You're in a graveyard. You have to come back to the house.
When she helps her friend, Mina does not notice the dark face that seems to stalk her.
Mina, what is it?
It's Jonathan. He's in Budapest at a hospital raving about evil things that have attacked him. God, I would go to him. Of course I would like to, but...
Lucy, tell me you'll be all right if I go.
Of course, Mina. I have Arthur and John and Quincy and my mother. Jonathan only has you. You should go be with him.
When she reunites with him, she finds him traumatized and unable to remember all he experienced.
I believe whatever happened to me is enclosed in my journal. I can't remember it. Mina, you must promise me you will never open this. Ever.
I promise. Unless you are at death's door and opening that book is the only way to save you, I will not open that journal, Jonathan.
Mina, will you marry me?
My love, we are already engaged.
No. Marry me now. I've been through too much to not have you by my side from this moment forward.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back in England, Lucy's condition worsens. Dr. Seward is distracted by one of his patients, a man named Renfield, who likes to eat flies, spiders, and perhaps other things.
Oh, doctor. I've been awfully goodly recently. Don't you think I deserve a bit of a reward? And what exactly would that be? A kitten for me to look after and to keep me company in here? Gets awfully lonely with just the flies.
Are you going to eat the kitten?
What? Why would you even ask me that? Because you've eaten every other living thing that's been inside this cell. Well, now I'm full, so
I'm not giving you a kitten.
then my master will ride down from the sky and draw every drop of nourishment from your veins, and I will have all the kittens I want.
Good for you.
To help diagnose Lucy's condition, Seward calls upon his good friend Abraham Van Helsing, who determines that Lucy is suffering from blood loss and will need a transfusion. Over the next few days, Lucy gets multiple transfusions from both Arthur and Dr. Seward, because luckily everyone in the house is a universal donor. Van Helsing also comes up with a less conventional method of medicine.
Miss Lucy, in order to get better, you must put some garlic around your neck.
All right. Well, I suppose I don't know enough about medicine to dispute that.
And next, after that, you need to put some chives behind your ear. I'm the doctor here.
All right.
And then we're going to have to sprinkle some salt and pepper on your head.
I'm not sure how that will help.
Yes, and finally, a little bit of cinnamon in the eyes.
Okay, that one I'm not doing.
Mr. Holmwood, please come at once. Your father, Lord Godalming, has died.
I couldn't possibly leave Lucy at this time. Arthur, go see your father and make the arrangements. You know I love Lucy, and I will be here to look after her. Van Helsing will as well.
But soon after, Lucy takes a turn for the worst. Her mother, not knowing the protective qualities of Van Helsing's seasonings, takes the garlic off her neck and opens the window. The doctors find Lucy pale and close to death, and universal donor number 3, Van Helsing, must give her another transfusion. On another night, she and her mother are the only ones in the house.
Who's there? Oh, it's just a bat. It's gone, Mother. Mother?
The next morning, the maids come in, and find Lucy's mother dead. Lucy sends them to get a glass of wine, and when they don't return, she finds them unconscious on the living room floor.
Laudanum.
Lucy Westenra is alone. When Dr. Seward and Van Helsing arrive the next morning, they find the maids unconscious, Mrs. Westenra dead, and Lucy unconscious with 2 mangled wounds on her neck. Quincy Morris arrives and volunteers as the 4th universal donor to give Lucy
Doctor,
blood.
I know I'm no expert, but you need to explain to me what's going on here. Now, we all have given Miss Lucy our blood, and she still remains bloodless. I cannot tell you too much, Mr. Morris. Perhaps someday you will know more. But I can only hope that you will not.
Quincy's transfusion is only enough to keep her alive until Arthur returns. Soon after his arrival, Lucy dies. Soon after her death, there start being reports of a beautiful lady spotted at night by local children. Children are found with 2 wounds on their necks.
John, I must confide in you. I believe that these attacks we've been hearing about in the city, I believe these are the works of sweet Lucy. How dare you, sir? You would besmirch the name of the woman I love. John, look at the wounds. Are they not the same ones as the ones she received? She's an undead now, John. No. I won't believe it. Come with me to the tomb.
When they arrive at the tomb that night, they find Lucy's body missing.
This proves nothing. She could have been stolen by grave robbers.
But the next morning, her body is back, looking as beautiful as the day she died.
How is this possible? Don't worry, John. I happen to be an expert in these things. There is a process to kill the undead for good. However, we must confide in her fiancé first.
Needless to say, Arthur is not too happy with the prospect of disturbing Lucy's grave.
Absolutely
You
not.
have to listen
I will
to
not
me.
allow
Now,
you
see
here,
here,
sir.
sir.
I
Your
grave
is
is
on
my
my
dear
dear
wife.
wife.
Arthur
Arthur
strikes you down now.
Right,
Right,
you
you
just
want to go
can't
digging
do
up
right.
graves
Lucy
and
was
put him
delicate
through all
and
that
gentle
work
woman
again?
and like
And
Jonathan.
there's
You
no
see,
reason
but
you
you
have to do
anything
what's
other
best
than that
for
and
Lucy's
death.
better.
Everything
No,
I know
shouldn't
that
this
you
is
loved her as
ridiculous.
well. Let Van Helsing help her.
Now, if you are all quite finished, there's something that you must all see.
Van Helsing takes them back to the graveyard, and as daylight comes, they see a ghostly figure approaching, and they see her face.
Darling, my gosh.
Having seen the new Lucy, Arthur consents to Van Helsing's plans. The 4 men return to the graveyard, with her fiancé driving the stake through her unbeating heart.
Art, I am so sorry. Whatever you need, we're here to help. I will not be able to rest until the beast that's done this is destroyed. And you will not do it alone.
After hearing about Lucy's death, the newly married Harkers arrive back in England.
This sounds like the man who tormented me in Transylvania. If you can even call him a man. He calls himself Count Dracula. I must aid you in your mission against him.
As will
Mina,
I.
please.
No, Jonathan. Lucy was my friend and he killed her. And he tormented you for weeks. I will not sit by and allow him to hurt the people that I love any longer.
The 6 of them immediately start planning, but they're not the only ones planning.
They've disposed of the girl. And now they plan to come after you, Master.
Of course I'll help you, Master.
And then I'll get all the flies that ever wanted.
Dr. Seward, I know that you were friends with Lucy, and that her death is connected to the Count, and I wondered if perhaps my diary would be a good resource for you.
Well, that's very kind of you, Mrs. Harker.
I was also wondering if you might like me to transcribe your phonograph diary for you.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
It'd be no trouble. I mean, you did say that Lucy's death wasn't too terrible to be listened to.
Well, you see, it's just so much has been recorded. You'd have to sort through a lot of information. I'm sure you wouldn't have the time.
I can make some time.
Yes, but I'm not sure how to select specific parts, so you'd have to listen to quite a bit of me rambling on and on.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Yes, sure. I am sure, but you might end up accidentally hearing something horrible. Oh, shoot. Now, a vampire can only sleep on dirt from his homeland. So for him to be tormenting us here, then he must have brought some of that dirt with him.
We just have to find that dirt and we can weaken him.
Exactly so, with nowhere to rest, we put on the chase.
I have one request. We keep Mina out of our searching. She may assist in the research, she may assist from here, but I refuse to let her be pulled into this immediately. I will not put her through what I have been through.
After listening to Seward's diary, Mina is fascinated by another figure in the journal.
Renfield, you have a visitor today. A young lady would like to speak with you.
That's lovely. Let me just swallow up my flies.
No, keep your distance. It's potentially dangerous.
Hello, Mr. Renfield. I'm Mina Harker.
Why, hello, Mrs. Harker. What can I do for you today?
But a few days later, he sends an urgent request.
If you'll excuse me, gentlemen, it seems that our resident madman has requested an audience with me.
You know, Jack, I am fascinated by this madman that you've been looking into. Perhaps I could attend to him with you, I suppose. Now, I'd like to meet this fellow as well, if you don't mind.
Me too.
Seeing how fascinated my wife is by him, I'd like to meet the man too.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, very much.
Alright, let's all go have a party with the guy who eats flies.
Hello, Doctor.
What do you want, Renfield?
You see, I have been on my best behavior recently, and I think that I deserve some acknowledgement of that. Furthermore, I think that you should let me go.
And why would he do that?
Because if you don't, something very bad will happen. Nothing that I will do, but something that will happen because I am here. I thought you said this man was insane. He speaks better than many of the lawyers and politicians I've ever met. I have grown quite fond of Mrs. Harker, and I do not wish for her to be put in danger.
This sanity may be temporary madness. Renfield, I cannot let you go.
But Renfield's concern for Mina is justified. In the past 2 nights, she has not slept well, plagued by dreams of red eyes, a dark-shadowed man, and a window she was sure she closed.
What happened here? I don't know. It sounded like he was talking to someone, and then I heard him scream, and he's like this.
He's come. You should have let me leave.
Why has he come?
Mrs. Harker has been weaker, hasn't she? I'm not the only one she's had visits with.
They are too late. Dracula has already forced Mina to drink his blood. If she dies, she will become a vampire, unless they can kill the Count first. Knowing the stakes of their mission, the men quickly hunt down the properties that the Count is hiding his earth at and purify them, leaving them unusable. Once they realize they have destroyed all his London residence, their mission becomes international as they chase him back to Transylvania. As the 6 of them begin their journey, Mina realizes that the Count's attack on her wields the benefit of a connection between them. She can experience the sensations the Count does, and use that to track him.
I hear water rushing, wood creaking, sailors speaking.
They are still traveling. They haven't reached land yet. This is good.
I hear water rushing, water rushing, water rushing. I hear a carnival.
Really?
No, obviously not. Water rushing.
When they finally arrive in Transylvania, they split up. Jonathan and Arthur follow the Count's boat along the river. Quincy and Seward stay on the mountain path. And Van Helsing and Mina go to the castle to defeat the vampire wives.
Oh my. The last man who came around didn't have nearly as much brains as you do, Professor.
Mina?
Stay in that circle of bread. They won't be able to reach you there.
Why, are they gluten-free?
Something like that.
Oh, you're no fun, Professor.
Why don't you come and join us, sweetie? The Count could use another wife. Almost as much as we could use a snack.
When morning comes, the 2 of them purify the graves of the vampire women and block the entrances of the castle. They make their way to a mountain road and watch as a group of men carry the coffin of the Count towards the castle. Jonathan and Arthur arrive and begin to fight the men, drawing their attention. As they do, Quincy and Dr. Seward arrive to grab the box. They find the Count, but the sun is setting quickly. At the last moment, Jonathan Harker takes the head of the creature that tormented him in his love, as Quincy Morris stabs its heart.
It's over. It's finally over. Quincy!
It's all right, Miss Mina. It's just a stab wound.
We must get him help. Send for a doctor, quickly.
I'm afraid we're too late for that. Now stop that now. I'm all too happy to have been of service to you. Just look at you. The curse has passed away.
It's a bittersweet day. The remaining 5 live long, happy lives thanks to Quincy Morris's sacrifices. Arthur and Dr. Seward eventually find respective wives. Mina collects everyone's journals and letters and makes a chronological account of the Count's activities. And the Harkers have a son, one that they named Quincy, after the man who saved them.
So that's basically the plot of Dracula.
Wow.
So it's more than just a monster story. They face actual loss and trauma from the attacks that the monster takes, and Mina isn't just a damsel in distress. She's just as important as taking down Dracula as the men are.
Yeah, precisely. But we also have to be careful with the kind of praise that we give this book. Like a lot of Victorian Gothic novels, it features the idea of this foreign other to create this sense of fear. In this case, Dracula and the Romani people who help him.
So I guess what you're saying is that Dracula showcases both the good and the bad of literature and social views of that time through the lens of the supernatural.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I'm gonna be the life of the party with conversation like this. Thanks. See you later.
Glad I could help.
Happy Halloween.